Today's tutorial is going to be a little different. It's more of an experiment actually. I'm going to make a multi-purpose blanket with pockets. I've always had trouble falling asleep and would reach out to use my phone while waiting for sleepiness to kick in. But as we know, blue light from our screens can affect our sleep. So I'm running this experiment to find out what kind of sensory approaches can induce sleep for me. Could it be aroma therapy, fidget play, or adding more weights to make me feel more secure? First, I will create a base blanket with pockets to test out the feasibility of each sensory add-on. And if it works, I will teach you how to convert your own blanket along with these attachments. I designed the base blanket to have openings so that my hands could reach out to the fidget attachments easily. A bonus thing that I found out was that I could stretch out my legs when it gets a little warm, which is pretty useful. The different columns overlap each other to make sure that the openings do not gape too much. So the materials that you need, I'm using tensile cotton, which is more cooling. I'm testing with a single size blanket which requires 10 meters of 60-inch white fabric, and you also need matching thread, polyester fiber fill, ribbons, and snap buttons. First, work on the upper section by sewing the pocket at the back. The chalk marks are drawn on the wrong side of fabric. Flip lower pocket piece and fold 1 cm from the edge. Stitch it down. Fold another 1 cm and stitch again. You can also fold 2 times and just stitch once. Place lower pocket back on the middle piece. Flip the top pocket flap to the right side and put it in place. Sew 5 mm from edge all around to secure the pieces. Next, we are going to attach the 2 side pieces to the middle piece. Sew 1 cm down for both sides. I'm sewing a line down the pocket to have 2 compartments. Still working on the upper section, I place both pieces together, right sides facing each other. Sew along these lines from this point to here. Turn it out and put it aside. Now I will work on the main blanket part, starting with each column and their individual pocket section. Take the smaller pocket flap, fold 1 cm from the bottom edge, fold another 1 cm and stitch it down. Place it back on the pocket base. I'll be attaching ribbons inside the lower corners of pocket to tie and secure the sensory add-ons later. Burn ribbon edges to prevent fraying. Stitch them down at the corners. Place the larger pocket flap over pocket base, sandwiching the ribbons and smaller pocket flap. Pin to secure. The flap is longer than the base. Leave about 1 cm distance from the base and fold it inside. It's about 2 cm seam allowance. Fold 1 cm from edge, fold another 1 cm and stitch it down. Sew along these lines to secure the pieces from this point to here. The ribbon is secured inside. Do the same for other pocket sections. Repeat the same steps for the side overlaps. Going back to the center overlap, attach the 4 parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 to form the column. Working on the wrong sides, pin the bottom of 1 and top edge of 2 together. Flip to the right side, and to make sure I do not accidentally sew the pocket, I fold the flap down and pin to secure. Attach 1 and 2 by stitching 1 cm from edge. Do the same for 3 and 4. Does not have any pocket and it looks like that. Next, take the back piece of center column. Placing the right sides together, attach both front and back by sewing 1 cm down from both sides. Turn it out and the center column is done. Repeat the same process for all columns. Once done, overlap the columns and secure them at the top by running a stitch across. Take the upper section, the one I sewed at the beginning, and attach its front to the front side of columns. Stitch 1 cm from edge, one end to the other. And this is how it looks like when it's done. Make sure not to sew the pockets into the seam line. I iron press the edge of the bag before attaching so that it's easier to manage. Tuck the raw seams into the upper section and cover. I make sure to catch the back piece when I pin to secure. I will stitch to here and leave about 12 cm to insert the stuffing. Sew right in between and down on the right side. This method is called stitch in the ditch. Stuff the polyester fill and stitch to close the gap. I'm going to run a stitch down the columns so I can have more compartments. I attach a ribbon at the bottom of each pocket in case I need to secure an attachment later. Place the center part of ribbon at the stitch line. Pin to secure the ribbon, including the ends. Do the same for all pockets. Run the stitch down for all columns. Insert polyfill for all the columns. Once stuffing is done, run a stitch down each column hem to prevent the polyfill from spilling out. I'm running stitch lines across the columns to make sure that the polyfill don't move about. This is how the columns look like after sewing. I'm only left with the feet warmer pocket to attach. Overlap the columns at the bottom and run a stitch across the hem to secure. Stitch both sides of feet warmer pocket on the wrong side, 1 cm from edge down and turn it out. Just like how I did for the top, attach the front of feet warmer pocket to the front side of columns. Stitch 1 cm from edge from one end to the other. I iron pressed the edge of the bag before so it's easier to manage. Tuck the raw seams into the feet warmer pocket and cover. I make sure to catch the back piece when I stitch. Sew right in between and down on the right side. Flip the feet warmer pocket to the back and I'm going to finish the edges by hand stitching. Using embroidery thread and needle, I sew the edges with the ladder stitch method. Lastly, I'm attaching snap button fasteners at these overlap areas so that the blanket will not be too flimsy and I have the flexibility to choose which one to unfasten at night. Now the blanket is ready for use.
So I've tested the blanket with a lavender sachet, knitted packets testing with rice grains, glass micro beads and peridot gemstones, cooling gel pad, and fidget play. What actually works best for me was the weighted packet and this fidget play. Our fingertips are actually very sensitive, so for me the fidget play stimulates tactile sensation and soothes me to sleep. Especially this rotary phone that works like a fidget spinner. The weighted security also calms me down pretty quickly, so I could fall asleep quite easily. I also like how the blanket columns work as bolsters so I can hug them. It's a really fun experiment and I like how I can switch things out with this blanket, or just use it as a regular blanket. The entire blanket can be washed too. You can find the blanket patterns on my blog, agechurly.com. I will be teaching how to create the different attachments next, so I'll see you soon. Bye!